Wait for them there. Hello, good night, good night, good night.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, guys. We are super duper excited to have you guys back to another wonderful episode of Real Talk. Now, this evening, guys, we have our favorite guest back in the house, Elder Williams. And we did put up the ad that Elder Williams was going to be back, so I just hope you guys are like all here for it. Okay, so this evening we'll be talking about intimacy in marriage. But before we do that, we're gonna ask Sister Carrie Ann to open us in prayer. A short prayer.
Father, we just come before you and we just thank you for this another moment in which we can share and learn so much about you. And here we are, Lord God, just trying to enlighten someone on how to behave in marriage and what is important. And Lord, we just pray, oh God, that God will just guide us in our discussion as we look to you and we give you thanks, we give you praise in Jesus' name.
Amen. So I have a question to you guys. Based upon Carrie Ann's prayer, she's asking God to teach us how to behave in marriage.
Oh.
Carrie Ann, is there a special way? Because we're talking about intimacy and you want God to show us how to behave. Is there a special way to behave intimately in marriage? So Brother William's looking at you like he's curious for the answer.
That's what I want to find out.
Okay.
Because
Well, I guess that's
believe
why we
that
are all
the
here.
way, I believe the Bible teaches us on what is required. So,
Oh.
what are the requirements?
Do you have any? Like, you carry on? Yeah. Like, yeah, what does the Bible say?
Carry
What-
on like me.
But I want to find out from the dear elder what
Okay.
is awesome. And I have something, but
All right. So, I normally like to start at the beginning, and so
Genesis.
if you get your Bibles and your pen and your paper, we can dive right into it. Genesis chapter 1.
Mhm. From the beginning. He's taking us from the
Back to
beginning.
the beginning.
And we are going to go at Genesis chapter 1, reading from verse 26. And it reads, and God says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowls of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. So if you stick up in right here and see that God called together the Godhead and said, come, let us. And when you think about come, it has several meanings.
Mhm. What are the meanings of come?
Well, in today's age, we know it's an invite.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
It actually comes at the, to start something, it's in the middle and also at the end. So you can come and, it will, so when God called the Godhead together, he said, come, let us. And so that's the intimate part of it that produce. So that word come, invite in, and that produce man.
Mhm.
So man comes from God coming together to form man. Just as our babies form, two persons have to come
Mhm.
together to form.
I like
So
that.
that's the initial stage that we need to understand this, and that's the reason why I said everything have a spiritual component.
Yes.
And we cannot just look at life as we are just separate from spiritual, because it's a togetherness. When God come together, he created man. And so when man and woman come together,
I'm sorry about that.
we
Go ahead, sorry.
create another life.
Mhm.
And that's one of the reasons why if you go down, he says, and behold, I have given every tree. Yes, and it says, and God says, be fruitful and multiply. So when a man and a woman come together, that's where we produce. And that's one of the most intimate relationship you can get from anything. Is creating something.
Then it's a requirement. God said, let them multiply.
Yes.
So in order to, I like that.
Yes, and so it's very important for us to understand this is the basis from which we are going to be diving in today, and so you can send in your questions, and I'm trying to
Elder.
answer it.
Can I tell you that because we're talking about sex, intimacy, when you say come, do you know why I laugh?
Yeah, I thought he was going there too.
I'm like, you're just like gonna just jump in from get go.
Like you ain't wasting any
And
time.
that's one of the reasons why I said this word come, because I can preach an entire sermon and just come. Because and it is fulfilling to come. It is joy. Even and and we are the crowning act of when God come, said, come let us.
Yes.
We are the crowning act, we are the joy of that coming together with God. So it takes more than one
Yeah.
to create. God did not, and if you look at scripture, you did not see that God says, come let us create trees, come let us do this, come let us do that. It's only when it comes on to man, he says,
Yes.
come let us.
Yeah. Let us
All right,
live
so-
in our
So, as we know, when we go back to the beginning, I'm sorry, carrying as a scripture. Go ahead.
Just a short.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go
go
ahead.
All right, so Hebrews 13, verse 4.
4.
Oh, you have it.
Yes. That's one of the most favorite.
So I had it, and it says, let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge sexual immoral and immorality.
Yes.
So you were going to elaborate on that?
Yes. Well, I was, I didn't want to go
gonna
there.
build up.
Just
He's
a
not
yes.
just gonna jump to it.
So, marriage is holy. First of all, marriage was created by God. And that's one of the reasons why, you got to be mature. You got to be at a certain age. You don't just, rush into marriage. Marriage is not something, there's a song that says, take time to know her. It's not an overnight thing.
I like that.
You don't just because of your emotion and all of that. It's something that you have to plan. Just as how God, in the beginning, planned for man. And when God planned for man, then he created man. He did not create man and then he created the world. He created the world and then he created man. And so there is a planning, there is a process by which, it needs to be done.
Yeah.
There's a way to make this mic. Yeah. Yeah. I want to make sure that everybody's voice is in the mic. And I think Karen, you have to speak a little louder. Like we need to hear you. The soft. Okay, so Almarine, welcome, my sister. And you said so true. Sex.
Yes.
Sex in the church has a lot of taboos to it. But yet still, I was saying to Janelle this week that in a marriage, or not just marriage, relationship, like that God doesn't want us to have sex out of marriage. That was Korean read that the bed would be defiled. And we have to live by the laws of God if we want our lives to be blessed and our relationship.
That's right.
So that there's absolutely nothing that you can do with the opposite sex that's wrong unless you go there, because you and I can live together. You can work and pay all the bills. I can do your laundry and everything. Like, no, think about it. Like, you can live out the whole thing. And if you never have sex, pretty much, we can walk on away and say we were just friends.
Exactly. And I tell a lot of people, even my wife, we have this discussion all the time, and I said, there's only one reason why someone get married.
It's
For
just
sex.
to legalize sex.
To
I don't care
legalize
what
sex,
nobody
because
wants. And in
you
America,
can do-
tax reasons,
You can do just about
anything.
anything and everything outside of having sex with someone. That's what my sister just alluded to. And so you can live with someone, but when it comes on to this intimate connection, and that's one of the reasons why we have to have an intimate relationship with God.
Exactly.
Because intimacy is God's ideal. It is God's ideal for his church, for his people, to be intimate with him and with each other.
So we're first and foremost, intimacy and sex are two completely different things.
Exactly.
And we're gonna break them apart before. But what I would like people to know is that, do you know that the wedding does not end until you consummate it? So you go through this elaborate ceremony where the pastor pronounces you man and wife, and what God joined together, no man put apart, and you do the reception and all of that stuff. But do you know that you could walk out and annul that entire marriage and say it never happened if you have not had sex? Did you guys know that?
Yes.
Yep. And until you consummate the marriage, the wedding is not over.
So the theory that they have about if a man sleep with a lot of women, or a woman also sleep with a lot of men, each woman or man becomes their husband or their wife.
Exactly.
Spiritually.
And that is so profound, and I'm glad you bring that out, because a lot of times, people just go around just having, free sex, as if it is,
they don't understand the
they
consequences
don't
of what
understand
they're
the
doing.
consequence of what they're doing, because it is not just physical, but also have a spiritual component. And when you, lay with someone, there is spirit that you can take from that person.
Transfer. The transfer of spirit.
There is so much, not only disease, there are also disease that can be transferred from, and the man will never know that he have that. There's a type of disease that the man can carry.
That's true.
And distribute to all his females. And it don't harm him, but it harm the female.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know about that.
And so,
No.
yes, and so it is very important that when one is going to go into, this sort of relationship, that they seek divine help.
So I have a question. That particular disease that you're saying that the man can be the carrier of, is it detectable by like a blood test?
Yes, it is. It is.
Do you know the name?
The doctor told me already. I was told about it already, but somehow it has evaded my.
That's definite knowledge for me. So elder.
Yes.
All right. So we know that when you have sex, you consummate the marriage. However, in sex, the misconception that is there is that men enjoy sex more than women. And it is a misconception. You might say more men enjoy sex than women. But to say in every relationship, it's not the same. There's some relationship where the woman is more sexually charged than the man is.
Yes.
So it's a misconception to think that all relationship.
What about night?
Speak louder.
Well,
No, speak louder so they can hear you. They can't hear you.
no, Kerry just asked about 90%, but I don't think there's a percentage to it. It's just that persons just have different, different build, different personality. We all
And
are,
sex drive. Some people sex drive is lower than for some people.
and it is something that you have to explore with your own self. Not meaning that you are going to.
Because I was just going to ask you, when you say explore that with yourself, are you giving permission for somebody to masturbate?
No, not permission to masturbate. Masturbation is an no.
Why?
It destroys your mind. It destroys your morals.
Okay.
All right. Excuse me.
And after doing
There's
that,
no one.
Oh, sorry.
There's no one that can masturbate without thinking about something. And the Bible says that if you think about it, you're sinning.
Mm.
And so that's why it have a spiritual component. And so when you take a toy or or whatever you want to use to accomplish that which God has given you for another person
To share
to
with
share
that.
with, it's outside. And so within the marriage, within with you and your partner, you explore.
So, okay.
You explore what
so-
your feelings and all of that. Your emotions.
So what you're saying that sex is supposed to be
A man and a woman.
I would agree with that because after a man masturbates, then I feel like that feeling, that connection with the wife. Now you're taking something from the wife because
Exactly.
now maybe you're gonna roll over and sleep or something when your wife needs it, So I think no.
All right, I have a question. Sorry. Warren Smith says, do you think that female expect more from sex than males?
Yeah.
How explain, Janelle?
Okay, so a male, I feel like male, they just want to get to it and just do it. And then I feel like female most
More
female affection. And also I feel like most male, they like turn down exploring and female like to explore. And I'm going to touch on this, Warren. Do you think, as you said, taboo in the church, like, do you think there's a length or there's an exact way of having sex?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think spice is the
We go back
No,
to
variety is the spice of life.
we go back
Yes,
to the
good.
Bible, Hebrews 13 and verse 4.
Mhm.
The Bible says that sex is honorable.
Mhm.
The bed is undefiled. Whatsoever you and your partner agree to in the bedroom is undefiled. This is marriage is holy. And so within that confinement,
Mhm.
and as I said earlier on, you got to explore. And a lot of persons get have sex. Okay, I know men they only want sex at night when they are tired from work, but that's not the best time for it.
Yeah. Because
That's
you're just
not
gonna
the
go to
best
sleep
time
after.
because you're going to sleep after.
Yeah.
All right, and so understanding your own body, understanding how can you maximize it, not just for yourself, because it is not a selfish act.
Mhm.
If it was a selfish act, God would not say, "Come, let us."
But do you
So
think
it entails, the next person for you to think about.
All right. Can I just before we leave what Warren said? So for a female, from my understanding, sex is more mental than physical. For a male, sex is a lot physical, not 100% physical, but a lot more physical. While for a female, so for somebody said we should use the word intercourse.
Intercourse, okay, and also there's a pastor friend of mine who
Hold on, I'm not.
carried as Yada.
Yeah.
Yada is another name for
I'm gonna
for
let
it
you
in a
finish
different
up your
language.
thought, Arjun,
Yeah.
and I get
So intimacy for you to get most time for most women that are not like that charged, because there's some women that they're just always ready, but most women are not made like that. It's all in our mind. So you get up in the morning. Intimacy starts from the moment you wake up until you go to bed. You get up, you kiss, hey, good morning, how is your morning? If you're Christians, you pray together, whatever. If she's in the kitchen doing something and you come and you help her, that means so much to her. Like, depending on if both of you are working, or if you're going off to work and she's home, you probably don't need that. You come home, hey babe, how was your day? You probably like rub her head, give her a little foot rub. Women like that kind of attention.
some attention,
You
yeah.
Men oftentimes don't really love all that much talking, especially after they get off from work. But she might have a lot to say. So even if you pretend that you're listening, because most times the truth is we don't want your opinion, we just want you to listen. Your opinion not gonna be right anyhow. So if you can do these little things for her, she feels seen, she feels heard. So guess what? When she is ready, when you get to that build up, she is ready, she's there.
Yeah.
And it cannot be something that all day you guys are like in your own world doing your own thing, and then you get to that moment and you think that most women like, no.
No.
Up
You've
here,
been a stranger all day.
her mental's got to be ready. She got to be prepared because we think about it. And if I can go through the whole day and not think about it once, don't come to me with
You've
it
been a
later.
stranger all day. Why are you dogging
Right?
me?
Because,
But I want to
yeah,
touch just
it's
before you
like-
guys leave on to another topic. So as I was saying, it is, as Georgia said, it is taboo to say certain things in church. Like somebody just said, don't say sex, say intercourse, or you use another word for it. That's why I was asking, like, is there a place in your marriage that you can take sex too far or intercourse too far? Don't you think, like in the church, why are we afraid to talk about sex?
Okay, and if I should go back to the Bible, refers to sex in various different ways. All right, when God says, "Be fruitful and multiply," that's one way to talk about intimacy. Okay, when a man, go in unto her,
Yes.
that's another way to talk about intimacy. And also, the
Knew
taboo-
her.
Yeah,
Somebody knew her a lot of time. Like they
that's
knew
another
her.
one. And also the negative side of it.
Yeah.
When you said uncover her nakedness, that's the negative, because you always hear about you should not uncover, that person nakedness,
Yes.
meaning that you're not supposed to have, intimacy.
Yeah.
With certain, your sister, and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
The Bible does not, refer to it as intimacy or sex, but these are, it all categorized the same.
As an individual, I just feel like sex is frowned upon in church, and
It's true.
behind closed door, it's like, and I feel like that's why sometimes people don't know how to deal with it, because we don't really talk about it.
And I think it messes.
That's one
with
of the
women.
reasons. That's one of the reasons why the person said that we should use intimacy, because a lot of persons are not comfortable.
They're like taken back with the word. Oh, you
Yeah,
just
they're
throwing that word
taking
around
back,
like that.
it is not that. It's not a word that we take as if it is something that God created.
Yeah.
We take it as if it is something that we should close it up.
Do it at
And
night.
Do it at night when places that when nobody's there. And that's not it.
But it's true. Go ahead, Gary.
You said something earlier that sex should only be at night because people sleep after. What is the best time you think for sex should be a good time? Intercourse.
Yes. we have to use the
We gotta be
word
proper when it's the best
that
time
our-
for intercourse.
Yes, so that our audience. The best time to have it is in the morning.
I think for everybody it's different.
Actually,
Exactly.
study
Yeah.
does show that
No,
in the
why?
morning.
No,
for real.
why?
Well, you
Study
just
shows
slept
that-
and you have a lot of energy.
You just sleep. Everything is you are what as I said, there are different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one
Because
thing-
if you're home all day, midday can work, right?
exactly. But one thing too, what I'm going to ask everyone to do is that you gotta know your partner's
Yeah,
sexuality
yeah.
or love language. Sorry.
Yeah.
You gotta know your partner.
Oh,
love
that is so
language.
important,
That is
like-
so important, because a lot of times we miss an opportunity.
And do you understand what it means by love language? Like, I hope, you need to explain this. Because love language is how your partner feels appreciated and seen in the relationship. And if you're in a relationship where your partner does not feel seen and appreciated,
Exactly.
then the connection is going to be broken.
Absolutely.
So if, for instance, Karen, your love language is appreciation. You love when your husband come home and say, "Oh my, thanks for the dinner. The house is nice and clean," and like you're home doing everything, and you want appreciation is your thing. If he comes home and he steps past, drops his shoes and his bag, you feel unappreciated. That is
Yes.
going to affect your sex life with him
Later,
because
yes.
your intimate life. I'm sorry, your intimate life, because like your love language is not speaking your language and he's not catering to your needs. Now, if your partner is affirmation, and so what he wants is like for you to come home and say, "Oh, babe, how was your work? and you said, he tells you about the work, and he's like, oh my God, you're so awesome. Like, I know, he tells you, I'm going to do this project, and I'm like, I know you're going to be the best, like, da, da, da. And you start boosting him up. He likes affirmation.
Exactly.
So if you don't speak that language to him, then
there is a
gap.
disconnection
Yeah,
there.
disconnection.
There's
I
a
like that.
disconnection there.
So that's
And
what he's
so-
talking about, understanding the love language. And
I have a question. I don't know if I'm gonna present it right, but it's power struggle in instance like so the man they like to have sex. Everybody know that. But however, the wife, she don't mind having sex, but she would like to explore other avenue of sex. But the husband was like, okay, I am the man, I have the power, and this is how it's gonna go. What would you say to a couple that is going through that?
The last time we were talking about submission.
yeah, I think like you're
And
going back
so
there.
we,
kind
we,
of.
we have to get this together. We are a team.
Team.
When you and your partner, when you join with someone, you join for more than one reason. You're not, you don't, if you want to be selfish, if you want to live by yourself, if you want to do things your way, don't get married.
Yeah.
But you have to cater for the next person. The next person needs. And so whatever it takes, both of you need to explore it. Both of you, okay, morning doesn't work for me, evening time work better for me. Whatever. And you explore what if, and and so it is
And a lot of
a
men,
trial and error. You
Yeah,
go in
yeah.
and that doesn't work, you don't give up.
a lot of men are female. It's because of their religious background or their traditional beliefs.
I have to show some of the things because somebody asked, are you guys talking about oral? Not particularly.
Just whatever you want to export. Well, since you mentioned oral, like, does the church accept oral? Or it's too
Sex
I don't
comes.
know.
I'm sorry, guys.
Have to do with also.
it's what the
It's
couple.
everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. Sex is wide. It does. I hate when persons just narrow down sex as what my
One
sister
thing,
says.
yeah.
From you come in the house, from in the morning you wake up. A lot of persons don't appreciate each other.
That's the intimate
That's
side.
that's getting intimate with the person. I touch her.
Yeah.
My wife will tell you. I will. always-
Brother,
I
you know
can't keep
my husband is watching. Be careful, you're talking about sex and rubbing.
I cannot get my hands off my wife. Well, he knows that I love my wife. He knows.
Well, we
And
all
so-
know that.
And so you have to understand that the context of marriage and being intimate, is having the next person needs being met at
Yes.
all times.
Yes. I like that.
Always think about how can I
Yes.
how can I improve on my relationship?
That is
How
so
can I
beautiful,
improve
yes.
in my bedroom? How can I? And so Hebrews 13, verse 4, marriage is holy and the bed is undefiled. Whatever those two persons, when they go behind closed door do, it is
Undefiled.
between them. It is undefiled.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
And I have a question online, so go ahead first, Karen.
So, for a marriage, what do you think for say intercourse when you're having intercourse? How often should you have intercourse as a couple?
Be reasonable.
How long can you go without having intercourse? Then and it's okay.
I think
Bible
for each
says-
his own.
The Bible says only for unless you're going and fasting.
And you have to ask your
And you have
husband.
to ask your husband permission.
Right.
It is so important that God categorized this relationship with a man and woman as he and the church. And I know that we are going to talk about divorce and we are going to talk about cheating and all of those things because I have a special topic. I want to deal with cheating also, but this is not the forum for
Yeah,
cheating.
yes.
And so, because there are different ways
People can cheat. And I have a question coming
that
up
you can
right now.
cheat. And so it is, you have to safeguard the avenues of your marriage, the avenues of your mind.
Mind,
And
that's
all
right.
of that to get everything in order how God wants us to be.
Yes.
All right. Graceful Unique says there are a lot of women and men who are single in a marriage. And if you could just elaborate a little bit more, because I think I understand what you're saying,
me too.
but I do not want to put my own sense. So if you could just elaborate a little bit more on that, would love to talk about it because I feel like I know what we're going. But I want to back up a little bit.
Yes.
There's something that we had introduced, but we stopped, and we're talking about the spiritual aspect of having sex. This is something that I feel like a lot of people are not of intercourse. A lot of people are not educated on, and it's that intercourse is more of a spiritual act than a physical act.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people take it very physical, and because you cannot see the spiritual world with our natural eyes, so they don't understand that when this goes down, it is way more than just you have slam bam, thank you, and you get your dress and you're gone. It doesn't end there. One of the things that happen is that we attract spirits to ourselves when we get in these kind of relationships.
Yeah.
And when you attract spirits, so two people get together, and naturally we know that we have different backgrounds. So the girl is like this toxic girl that is always in like just break up and goes from one relationship to the other relationship. So each time you get with somebody, you're taking on their spirit on you. Did you know that? Yes. So you're taking on their spirit on you. So now you go in, you move on from that person and you go to another person. What you're doing, you're transferring, carrying spirit is being transferred over to me. And then this guy break up with me, goes on to Janelle. And by the time he gets to Janelle, Janelle is carrying your spirit, my spirit, and whomever else spirit that person has been with. And do you see why sometimes especially when you get married, you have so many problems and relationships are so strained because there's so many negative spirits that have been attracted through illicit sex and brought in the relationship. And that's that's why God's original thought for us was that a man would find a wife, they would stick together. No,
They should remain.
because now you're gonna have to take on another person, another
And
spirit,
not
and
just
stuff like that.
not just that. By the time you went through all of those girls or men, when you get into your marriage, guess what? Chaos.
Yes.
Pure
yes.
chaos, because all those spirits are fighting to break the relationship.
Yes.
All those negative spirits.
Where in
You
the
wonder,
Bible can you draw a reference of what it just said? Where?
About what?
About the spirits that join on to them.
Well,
Mary Magdalene. How many spirits were cast out? She was the same person that was caught in the very act. And because she was, and I believe she was forced to have sex with all of these persons. And so when they
that's
brought
your
her
thought,
to Jesus,
though, right?
huh?
That's your thought, because it's
Because
it's
Jesus,
not, it
they
doesn't
say
say
that
that.
the Bible does not say that, but she was caught in the very act.
But the Bible also
And so-
did not say whom the woman's name
Name
was
was.
that was caught. So that's you're supposing
That
it
it
must
was
have
Mary,
been her.
because when she came to Eve anoint the foot of Jesus for his burial, and Peter and everybody in the house said,
Basically
if he
scorn
knows-
her,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly, because she was.
so even if she wasn't that woman, Mary did people look down on
Yes,
her.
Yeah.
because the Bible tells us she was the one that God cast out, demons from. And so demons are attracted. There's a certain protection that God put over us. And if you remember, the man and the woman was naked,
Yes.
and they were not ashamed until they break. So whenever you are in a relationship and you break, the devil, he just wants a little loophole, just a little piece and chaos.
And here are powerful intimate
Intimacy is.
intercourses, not intimacy, intercourses. Did you know that? But just back out of the church a little bit. Other society or high society, I know for a fact that they use sex to do certain rituals.
Rituals.
Exactly.
That's
And
so
even when you look at
powerful.
the Romans and when you go look at the Grecians and all of that stuff,
Yes.
orgies and all of those stuff were part of their worship,
Worship.
were part of the things that they
Yeah.
do. So, guys, one of the things that I would
to
love
be
for you to
careful.
take away from this is that just going around and just like spreading your seed, or women just like you're doing way more damage to yourself than you
yourself.
think you are.
Exactly.
It doesn't end when you think it ends. It goes way beyond that. You're carrying that person's spirit with you way longer than you think.
Yeah, and what I found out that in today's society, in high school, colleges, and stuff like that, young girls don't want to keep their virginity.
Yeah, purity
No,
is
they-
not encouraged.
No, it
I
does
think
not.
I think it has to do with your self-esteem and on how you see things and how your friends. And that's why
Peer
I-
pressure, yeah.
Peer
Yes.
pressure is one of them. So because someone else is doing it and you don't want to feel left out.
A lot of girls do
because
that. A
somebody
lot of
else-
people, not even
because
just
your
girls.
friends are doing it.
So
And
they
that-
feel like they need to be a part of this. And that's something that we have to encourage our young girls, because purity is not popular
Popular
anymore.
anymore.
And even men are not looking for virgins anymore. They don't care.
They don't
It's
care.
like the more experience you come with is the better
The better
they
it
think
is.
about it. But
Yeah.
guess what? What they
Oh,
don't
gosh.
understand is that you're bringing so much more spirits onto them, and then the transfer is just going all over. Like,
You know, I heard something about someone who's been going around and for a young girl in school, say school, whatever, they've been having sex with other guys. And I heard that most of the time, the guys that have sex with that person, they don't want that person. They don't want to find
A virgin,
sometimes
yes.
a virgin.
Mhm, mhm.
Sometimes I know some people don't look at it anymore, but some people still do look for that. Because when they get a virgin, they get the prize.
And especially if you're from the Christian community, you want a man. Usually, some men want a virgin. If
Yeah,
they get a
they
virgin, which is
seek
because they
and
feel
they
like it's a
feel-
blood covenant,
Yeah,
like yes.
no,
Yeah.
but for some
some,
people,
for some.
remember, when you get a virgin, you're also getting inexperience. And no,
Yeah,
it's
no,
a
she's
reality
right.
of it. And you have to have
you
that
are right.
patience, because, like,
You are so right.
But you know what changes everything? When a man can wait and a woman can wait and both of you can explore this
Yes.
new world.
Together.
That's how God
the
ought to
beauty,
If you can grow
yes.
together.
the beauty of that.
Mm.
But when one person is overexploited and one person comes in new, a lot of times
Times there is
it's a
friction.
struggle.
There's
Yeah.
a struggle
Yeah, I
to-
was at a couples conference the other day, and that was one of the testimony. The young man, he was saying, like, he's out in the street and now he found this beautiful wife, and now they got married and it was time, and he was like, oh gosh, look at this now. He had to teach her everything. So
Yes,
as you were
but
saying,
then-
Georgia,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like,
And you think that would be like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But for some people, they
It's a
would rather
turn on.
somebody just like who got it popping, like they know what's up.
look at the world we live in. Ugh.
Yeah, things are so changed. Because when I was little, when I was growing up, especially I grew up in Jamaica, a lot of, especially women, would lie that they are virgins when they're not. Now it's not a compliment. Nobody wants to lie about that. Like it's just not a big deal. Nobody's even expecting you to be.
The church need to preach more
More
about
A
Exactly.
purity. Like
And
we need to talk
purity
about it
and
and
what-
talk about it with our
yes.
young people and all of
Absolutely.
that, and let them
Stop
understand
shying away
the
from it.
importance of going in your marriage, and how
Pure.
cool it is to let your friends know that I'm saving myself. Like it's
Yes.
actually a really cool thing to save yourself. It's special.
And the world is pushing this narrative, as you said earlier on, that the more experience you have, the better it is for
Yeah.
you. And so, which is not true. And so the movies and everything that is now on is just directing our youth for disaster. They're just I've seen, especially here. Well, I've been anywhere apart from America here, Jamaica and America. And so, but since I get here, I realize that the secret is that we talk about sex back home or intimacy or intercourse back home. It is not so here.
No,
You go
it's
in a
different
workplace
culture.
and person they just talk about their their life as if
Everything that
I
they
sleep
did
with
last
somebody
night.
last
Not a
night,
big
and
deal.
It is no big deal, and
Yeah.
I'm
It
so
has no
upset.
value.
No
Like, it's,
value.
oh,
Yeah, and it was so different, like in our
Exactly.
culture, and the church needs to bring that back,
That,
because if
yeah.
you do not discuss it, if you do not talk about it with your children, then you
How is
leave
it?
them for the world to teach them
Yes,
about it.
yes.
Like, you know,
yes. Like today, I was talking to Georgia, and she was saying, like, Janelle, this is why I allow my kids to take part in church or take part in certain things in
In
church.
church.
Because other culture, like, they're teaching. Well, we're talking about the
so like we had communion yesterday, and I allowed my little children to take communion because I wanted to talk to them about the importance of it. And one of the reasons why that was so important to me is that when you look at all the other when you look at the Jewish religion, you have all these little boys that are participating. By the time you're 12 and it's your bat mitzvah, whatever they pronounce it, like you got to know the Torah. They're very involved. When it
That's a
comes
long
to,
book to remember.
hold on, when it comes to the demonic rituals,
Oh.
kids play
This
such a big
role,
role in it
exactly.
that by the time they become certain age, they are versed on casting spells and all the things. They're meeting with the devil. And when it comes to the church, you know what happened? We say,
He's too
turn it
young.
down. We say,
Go on there, sit
yeah,
down.
or
Go sit down.
we say
Yes.
our kids are too young. They
They
don't
don't
understand.
understand.
We shouldn't let them. But you know what? You know how they're gonna understand is by growing up into
The
it
likes
and
of which what?
train the child the way he should grow.
Grow
And when
when
he's
he's
old,
old,
he
he
will
shall
not
not
depart.
All right.
Right.
What is he saying there?
But you know what? I was watching something. I was watching a podcast one time, and this person was talking, and she said she started getting into certain things like even porn and watching stuff, and she started doing at the age of 4. So we have to,
4.
as Georgia was saying with her kids, yes, because they understand certain things at that time, but they are
Of course
smart,
they
and then when
understand.
you start putting, as she said, the right information in them at that time, and let them know stuff
Yes.
and explaining it to them, because you know what, kids are very curious.
They're
Yes.
And
growing.
they wanted to know
Yes.
something. So it who's best to teach them.
That
than
yeah,
you,
they're
because you
growing
have to
and they're
engage.
learning. So you have to put in the right information. Like sometimes like kids will listen to other music and stuff like that. In my house I control what I do or what my kids do.
Yes, you have to.
You gotta push
have
the
to.
right stuff. They're listening, they're
Listen, they
learning.
don't-
Yeah.
Because if you don't,
they
somebody
don't
else,
know
Someone
already
else is going to
yeah.
somebody
They're
else
gonna
is
be
going to teach them
influenced
exactly
by somebody.
because they talk about it. They talk about it. The little kids, they are and parents. For God, they never say, know what your kids are watching.
Yes.
Check their phones, who they are communicating with, because they are demons out there. Just want to pray.
And they're coming through your TV screens, they're coming through the tablets, they're coming through all
all
of that.
And another thing, they're bringing sex into even cartoons. The cartoons
Yes.
that the kids are watching.
It is true.
They're bringing
It is-
sex
it is.
into the, to let them think that it's okay. So they
Yeah,
start
you
introducing it to
are
them
so
at
right.
that
Like
young
SpongeBob, this cartoon, right? My kids, yeah, they watch that cartoon every day. And then my friend sent me a clip and like, did that cartoon just curse? And yes, he did.
Mhm.
So they're introducing it through the little things, and they think that it's okay
Yeah.
because they see it in the cartoon.
the
So
cartoon.
they accept it as being okay.
They package it for their audience.
Exactly. They are, and this is why I don't see why persons don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
as we go,
popular in the church.
and as we go right back to marriage, where we started and intimacy,
Yes.
is that like after the world mess up our kids and we're not paying attention and we're not feeding our kids the right information, then they get into marriage and then now it's a chaos.
It's a case because they don't understand what is happening.
No.
Yeah.
And so they cannot perform because they were not taught the right way,
No.
the proper way, how to preserve yourself, how to treat a woman. The boys don't know how to treat a woman, the girls don't know how to treat a man. They believe that,
It's what they see on TV.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm strong. I
Yes,
stand up for
exactly.
myself.
I don't like to ever put anybody out there, but Brother Williams, I feel like you, in your marriage, I feel like you have a unique story between you and your wife because you guys chose purity, right?
yes,
which is and no, I feel like these are things that people should share because we sit here and we talk, and not a lot of people have taken that road. So there you were. It was your second marriage because your first wife was deceased, and now you're getting in your second marriage, and you're an experienced man, but you're choosing purity, even though you know exactly what you're missing out on.
Exactly.
So tell us about your journey with purity.
That's even worse than the first
that
one.
is a different, and I want stay tuned. There goes going to be more journey with Clifford. Because I'm going to be joining Georgia, and I'm going to show you, take a walk with me through my life. But as we talk about this purity, is that when I first met my wife and we started dating, we decided from the beginning that listen, no sex until
That is so beautiful.
married.
I felt like you guys should know about
Yes,
that.
we were tempted. We had some very near
Living
miss,
testament here, guys. Come on.
but God has kept us to the point of when I got married. The night, the first night, I was unable to function. And my wife was wondering, what is this?
What she got herself into?
We call this in Jamaica by pussing bag.
What, the unknown?
Over there wait so long.
And I was waiting so
You've
long.
been waiting so
Yes,
long.
you get so anxious.
Yeah, and so, but I'm telling you, no, the joy of just,
Yes.
it is.
That's so beautiful.
It was so precious to wait. I felt so good that I waited.
Wow.
So, you know, one of the reasons why, because I don't really like to talk about anybody's personal life, but you know how Brother Williams, he gives the word of God. He talks about we know how much he loves his wife. And I felt like you guys should know that this man isn't just talking the talk, but he's walking the walk. Like he's for real. So I just wanted him to share that story with you. So, Elder,
Yes.
in marriage, we talked about that intimacy is different from intercourse.
Yes.
Now, a lot of relationship women shut down because they do not experience intimacy. What would you say to a man out there that as a wife, and somebody said you were too excited on the first night?
Exactly.
I said, what would you say to a man who was a wife, but they're not able to connect in that when it comes to intercourse? No, well, because intimacy starts out of the marriage, but there's not much intimacy in the marriage. So when it comes to intercourse, he's not able to connect with his wife because remember, a man doesn't need much. Like
So you
just
meant the
look
wife
good,
then,
smell
or the
good,
wife?
shape good, and that kind of most time does the job for him. Unless you really
Right.
have a really bad mouth that men really hate when you have like a really
but there are men, and I don't want to, we can't be generalizing
Yes.
men because I have a friend, I have a church brother, a friend, and this girl, she stripped in front of him and he tell her, put on back your clothes. I'm not into it. He was a godly man and he decided that he will not have sex outside of marriage.
Wow.
And he tell her, they were dating for like a year. And the girl, just one day when he was at her house, she said, she's going to the bathroom. And when she come back, she was like, and he said, what is this?
You're
And so
right.
not all men are, as they say, if you put a skirt and a broomstick, he will, he will stand at attention. But there are persons who are, who think far beyond just sex.
because they understand.
Just far beyond, that intercourse.
You know what that person reminds me of is Joseph in the
Joseph.
Bible with Potiphar's wife.
Yes,
When he said,
yes.
like, how can I do this evil against my God?
Exactly.
Like, and I feel like we need to get to that place where we have that reverence for God, where we're not just thinking about our instant gratification,
Exactly.
but we're like, how can I betray my God? Because I'm telling you, your flesh, your heart, sometimes it's weak, but there's got to be something stronger inside of you that can allow
And
you
that's the
to
Spirit of
walk
God.
away from that.
Can I share something with you?
Sure.
Yeah.
As you said that, I pray before I have sex.
Hmm. What do you pray about?
I pray for the wisdom and the knowledge to satisfy, to bring the
Wow.
joy,
And that helps, yeah.
to bring the
Listen,
joy
I've done that before, yeah.
into
Brother
my
Williams,
marriage.
Brother
I-
Williams,
I-
hold on, Brother
you know,
Williams.
yes.
There are enough women out there that like you. Now you go tell these women that you pray to God to satisfy your wife. Listen,
No, but
I don't want Pauline to be mad at me.
it is not just a physical act. It is also
It's
a spiritual
act.
one. And so I have to seek divine help because
Wow,
I want
wow.
to satisfy my wife to the uttermost. I want her to a friend of
Wow,
mine.
Jesus.
A friend of mine said, when they asked him where he's heaven, and he said he was passing a house and heard a lady crying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And he said, wherever that lady was, that must be heaven. So I love to take my wife there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I feel like in marriage, like when, as a wife,
Mhm.
sometimes like when your husband is not showing the intimacy, that's being intimate and like
Yeah.
just not, giving that, you have to set up like affirmation where you
Yes.
said to yourself, like, okay, remind yourself why you get into the marriage,
Yes.
why you're here. Because it's not every time, sorry, I was gonna it's not every time, it's not every time like, you're gonna be in that mood.
Yeah.
So even praying, like you're not in the mood, you're like, God, just give me
Help me.
yeah, like
The mindset.
But
Yeah.
so Janelle, I needed to talk to a woman out there. So sometimes women are not in the mood because all day you've been washing, cooking, and you just don't feel that sexy, taking care of the children burping upon you and all of that stuff. But your husband comes home and he wants that kind of attention. And you are married and it's a marital duty. Not
Not a duty.
it is a marital duty.
No,
You don't think sex is a marital duty?
it's not a duty.
what is it, brother?
What is it?
It is your responsibility.
But isn't that the same thing?
No, a duty is that you have to do it. Responsibility is that you know that this is part of your who you are now as a wife.
Okay, so I stand corrected, a marital responsibility.
Mhm.
So how would you encourage that lady that she give her husband a good
Well, pray.
I want to answer
That
that
was short. Go on, man.
I wanna
That was
answer
short and spicy.
because I sometimes I'm wondering why our men are like this. Too many times we believe that working out is more harder than working at home.
Yes.
And so when you come home and your wife is doing something, if you help her, you get more time. It is
It
more
is so
enjoyable.
true. Like it is so true. Like
It is and I said we are a team, and
Yes.
so we work together. And
It's a
so
team.
if you come home and things are not finished, you help her.
Yes.
I get home from work this afternoon. I went home, I wash, I do stuff before I get here
yeah.
because I believe that whatever she's doing, I don't think my wife is lazy. My wife is the opposite of lazy.
Yeah.
And
But it's a
so-
lot.
Exactly. So I have to chip in and do my part, my share,
Yes.
so that she can have more time. We can have more time together.
Mm-hmm.
And just as what it does help and it makes you feel appreciated.
Yes.
Because
And
if
you know
your
later
love
it's
language is
greater.
appreciation,
Yes.
which I think everybody love language is appreciation. It's a part of everybody's love language. Because if you go out and you work all day and you have a wife who said, well, you never buy me this, you never buy me that, and you're working so hard to make two ends meet and all she can do is complain,
Complain.
that's gonna make you feel bad, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's the same thing for a
Disconnect, yeah.
woman. If she's there cooking, cleaning, and all of this, and you come home and you throw your foot up and take the remote, and you just do your own thing, and then you come
That's a mood
7, 8
killer.
o'clock, you feel like it's
That's-
time, like
That's a mood killer, and and I don't like when people even put time for sex. Sex should intimacy, intercourse should be
spontaneous.
spontaneous.
Yeah.
You should enjoy each other
Yeah.
and don't just run. Yes, there are quickie that is very useful and that is very good, but the meat of it,
It takes time to know her.
exactly.
Yeah. To
You know,
appreciate her body.
appreciate her body. No matter what that body is, it is yours.
Yes.
You got to appreciate it. You got to show her.
And take her out on date. You know, like go out for the weekend.
Exactly.
Something.
That also enhance intercourse, intimacy. That enhance when you take home flowers and ladies. You can buy the man some flowers too. You can
Men
date-
like flowers.
You
I didn't
can
say that
date-
men like
What do they
flowers.
like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
what does
date
man
your
like?
You can date your
Hold on,
husband.
but it doesn't. Men like flowers, or like
I would think that
I think men like lingeries and stuff like that. I feel like those are like the gifts that keep on giving. Like, but I don't know if men
I don't
like
know. I'm asking him
chocolate
because
and
that would
flowers
be
and
nice.
stuff like
what
that.
What should I get my husband?
No, you see, that's why
Or
that's
a
why I
watch,
said.
but you can't be
Yeah,
getting
that's
a
what
watch and a wallet
I'm
every
saying
day.
that you need to know the person love language. You got to
Ah.
look.
something that my husband likes, and then that would
Oh, nice. So yeah, them sit up.
That can definitely turn the mood on.
Turn on the truth.
Because once he sees you pull out that red wine, he's like,
Exactly.
ooh, Carrie and is thinking. Like,
Because a lot of persons believe that it's up to the man to set the mood. The man must do the initiating,
yeah.
and it is both of us in it, and so you have to give in order to receive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever you want from a relationship, you need to put
Give
in.
that same
Give that
thing.
same
That's
thing.
very, and that's what I'm so happy that you said this, because a lot of people do not understand this. That
Wow.
what you give to, it is such an important point, Elder. I'm so happy that you said that. Whatever it is that you want, try giving it, because it's almost like teaching somebody how
How
to
to
love
love
you.
you.
Wow. Wow.
Like, this is who I am, and this is what I would like for you. I'm doing this for you, not because you're doing
Yes.
it, but because I want you to learn how to do this. I absolutely love that.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
I'm
Good
saying to
information.
persons, in your love life, sometimes ladies, they got to teach the man how to love.
How to love you. Yeah.
That's right.
You got to teach the man where to touch on your body. Where is the sensitive area? Where do you want him to touch?
Like,
And
leave
there-
his hands.
Exactly. There are times that, the same part doesn't feel the same way anymore. And you got to, say, okay, this is not, you got to go here first, start from the toe or wherever. And
Yeah.
so, you can understand, the man can know who you are.
Yeah.
Because it is, both of you are in it, and you want the best for him, and he wants to give you the best.
Yeah.
So you know him, and he's supposed to know you, and so both of you in that relationship, there can't be anything but love,
Yeah.
and that is the reflection
Only
of God.
love. Yes.
The church needs to remove the taboo out of
Yes.
intercourse until because it is something that bonds the relationship.
Yes.
It joins people together and it bonds them and it keeps
Absolutely.
them together. It's pretty hard to be quite active and be fighting every 2 seconds.
Exactly.
It's very, very hard to be in both
Yes.
spaces,
Yes.
And if more marriages was more regular, if they were more regular, then I'm telling you, people would get along better.
Better, yes.
So, women, we're coming to an end. It's 7:00, and I want to thank you guys so much for joining this lively discussion. And
Thank
I
you
hope
guys
that
so much.
that you guys learned something. But women, we got to give more freely. And my husband, I'm not talking to you. This does not go for you. So I'm just letting you know that I'm talking to all the
Yes.
other women out there.
And if there's a time when it feels like you can't, just pray.
Just pray, like
you cannot multiply unless you come together.
All right.
there needs to be some coming
Coming
You
together.
have to come
There
together.
has to be some intercourse.
in order for some multiplication to happen.
Some has to be in the
In
equation.
the mix.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I am so happy. This was such an exciting conversation, guys, and I want to thank you so much. Elder, any final comments?
With God in your marriage, with God in your relationship,
Yeah.
the only thing can happen from that is love.
Yes.
Because God is love. And that's what God wants for us today. For us to love our spouse, knowing that our spouse is an extension of us.
Yes.
So just remember, if the man is a dog, then you are also if the man is a cat, you are also a cat. And so,
I like
we
that.
need- yeah,
Because
we
you are
need to
the two become one.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it, yeah.
And the Bible tells us that a man should not lie with an animal. So if you're lying with an animal,
So you gotta be careful what you're saying to your spouse. Be careful
exactly,
of
you
these
gotta
names
treat,
that you're like.
you gotta treat that person
Right. Like a human being. Yes.
like yourself.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
Wonderful topic.
This was like a very, very vibrant discussion. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining. And we've got to roll. There's so much more that we could say about this. And I know everybody has something to say, but you guys did not have a lot of questions. I must tell you. Latival, my cousin, thank you for tuning in and watching. Sashoy Rose, thank you so much. You're like somebody that's always been with us from the beginning, and we want to thank you so much. Next week, invite somebody to come back. Keisha Survivor Cola, thank you so much for being on and for your comments. Oh, that's your daughter. And she invited all her friends to join.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And Suen, you've always been on. Just want to thank Sister Almarine, you were on. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And share this. My husband was on, y'all, but I won't tell you the things that he's been saying. Thank you so much, husband, for joining in and for your love and your support. I want you guys, even this discussion has ended, but it's there. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube for you guys to just share so that we can edify somebody. Because there were a lot of gems that were dropped tonight.
Yes.
And people just need to know that, look, the marriage is not going to survive without sex. Hey, sister, I'm telling you the truth. The marriage is not going to work without sex. Husband, you step it up. She needs real loving, not just, she needs caressing and loving. So let's get it together, get our homes together, get our lives in order, and let's start loving instead of fighting. Let's enjoy this gift that God gave us. It's like a gift to
It
bond
is a
us
gift,
together.
yeah.
And Satan does so much to steal this from us. Like, as women, as soon as we get mad, and I know we're supposed to wrap it up, guys, but as soon as us women get mad, the first thing we want to do is take away.
Yes.
The goodness. We want to take
You know,
away the
our head
goodness.
start hurting us, our foot, our arm, and everything. Like,
Good job, I'm
we
tired.
just need to do like a little bit better. Like,
Yeah.
so let's treat this thing the way God wanted. Thank you guys so much for being here. See you guys
Bye.
next week,
Next
same
week.
place. Poised to Succeed, Journey with Georgia, Facebook and YouTube Live. Bye. Love you guys so much.
Bye.